Rob is asking, do a lot of people in Iran hold a grudge against Russia for the Russia-Persian wars of 17th and 18th and 19th centuries? What were you taught in school about these wars? That they were horrible and that the Iranian Shahs agreed to certain deals with the Russians that were embarrassing and shameful and a curse upon Iran today. It's a dark memory of Iranian past. And so here's the thing. This is like very political. I don't even know where to start. So the Islamic Republic of Iran uses this history as a way to show how horrible the kings were, how horrible the monarchist system is, because it was under the Iran at those times, just like most times, used to be under the rule of a king, or it was monarchy. And these kings, especially the Qajar Shahs, agreed to negotiated after losing battles and stuff, negotiated deals with the Russians that gave away a lot of territory, a lot of Iranian lands to Russians. And until this day, people remember, people today talk about it as if it was some of the greatest strategies that has happened to Iran, which is kind of weird because there are Iran has went through famines during the same times, and millions of people have died, and people don't learn much about that in history, but they do remember about losing territory, which is kind of suggests to me, I mean, it doesn't suggest, it's kind of obvious that a lot of people care about losing land more than losing lives. Soil matters more than blood to people. And so this is a shameful part of Iranian history to show how pathetic and weak were our kings for them to give in so much territory to the Russians. Never again. This is all of that. Okay, so but so that's the Islamic Republic's narrative. However, the anti-Islamic Republic narrative, the Iranians who are against the Islamic Republic of Iran, against the government, against the regime, they use the same narratives to you're doing this again. This is happening. This is the same agreements under you people is happening again. They give our territory and we hate them. All right. Remember, the people in Iran who are pro-monarchy, they are specifically pro the Pahlavi dynasty. Okay, the pro-Iranian people that are extremely pro-monarchy, they remember the Haqamanishis, or the English version of that is the Achaemenids. They really like the Achaemenids. They jizz over the Sassanid dynasty, and they are extremely pro the Pahlavi dynasty, which was the last dynasty. Literally no one likes the Qajar dynasty, which was the dynasty before the Pahlavi dynasty, right? So people like to hate on the Qajar dynasty because they were pretty horrible. They were unanimously agreed upon the worst dynasty in Iranian history. But it was under their ruling that a lot of these lands were lost to a whole bunch of other people, including the Russians, right? So they're don't use the Qajars as a way to be anti-monarchy. They were the bad ones, okay? In fact, under the Pahlavi dynasty, which came after, a lot of territory that was supposed to leave Iran was kept by Reza Shah. So see, Reza Shah is a good king. You guys, on the other hand, the Islamic Republic, you guys are signing deals with the Chinese and Russians that is basically selling away Iranian land and Iranian territory and Iranian interest and Iranian oil and gas to the Russians and to the Chinese for free. Basically, you're giving so that you can stay in power. So they're accusing the Islamic Republic of Iran, sometimes accurately, that you have and this one specifically accurately, that you have isolated yourself internationally so much, okay, against most civilized countries on the planet, that you have to give in to the demands of the Russians and the Chinese on very unfavorable terms into deals that is hurting the Iranian people, just so that you guys could stay in power. So there's one of the chants, one of the I don't know what it's called, anthems or whatever, and the Iranian revolutionary songs that. Yes, I don't know what it's called in English. The things that they chant, okay, is Na Sharqi Na Gharbi Jamhuriya Islami, which means no to the east, no to the West, only the Islamic Republic of Iran. Because like if you look at the look at Iran, they're kind of in the middle of the map, right? But like a lot of Iranian people are making fun of that, like because you claim to be like so independent from the world, you self-reliant, you don't need any country to be independent, you're like the independence of Iran. This kind of has led into a lot of protectionist attitudes, right? Protectionism, buy Iranian, build Iranian, don't like anti-trade policies, a whole bunch of crap. But like that seems to be the motto. I think that's a good, yeah. But in effect, they say like it's not no to the West, no to the East. You said like you have said no to the West, and you have cornered yourself into the East. That so much that like yes, you are saying yes to the East. In fact, yes to everything to the East, giving away everything to the East. So don't act like you're anti-West and also like independent from the East. You are Iran. The Islamic Republic of Iran has made Iran into a puppet of Eastern regimes, including mainly Russia and China. So this is basically boiling the like Russian. When you see any agreement between Iran and China or Iran and Russia, many Iranian people their blood boils. And the agreements that they had in with Russia because of the losses that they had with them in history, the ones that Rob is mentioning, people remember that as they use it as reference for a way to say those are happening again. So yeah, Iranian people, fortunately and unfortunately, remember their history very well. Well, some of them do. Because I say fortunately because it's good to know history so that you could learn from it. But a lot of Iranian people also know their history as a way to hold grudges against other people. I mean, in this case, they're actually kind of it's fair for them to do that. But like, for example, Iranian people like keep referring to history, some of them, not all of them, as a way to be bigoted or racist towards many groups of people. I mean, even like with the Russia situation, this is why a lot of Iranians have become, because of the Islamic Republic's dealings with them right now, have become anti-Chinese and anti-Russian, right? And on the Persian, like I have a Persian show called Jumhuriye Bi Khodayan, and that's why on that side I also try to do activism and say like, hey, this is blame Putin, don't blame the Russian people. Like I try to one of my major focus on one major thing that I focus on the Persian side when I do my activism is to fight bigotry and racism. So, and unfortunately, history, which is supposed to be something that you learn from, sometimes also is used by a lot of people as an excuse for racism and bigotry. So it doesn't always lead to good conclusions knowing their history. If you'd like to send me your questions for me to answer during our Q&As, become a patron. If you would like to have a discussion with me live on air at the end of the Q&As, become a YouTube member. Link to both is in the description. Thank you for your support.